good, everybody? It's your boy Showtime. We live and direct, lock and loaded. Hope everybody having a fantastic day. Salute to all my people out there. Make sure I hit the like button, definitely subscribe. And if you want to, I got my boy Scoop B,
What's up,
um,
Chief?
Ballard Sports analyst, NBA insider, the legendary. What up, my guy?
Nothing. This is year 2 of us doing this. Last year,
Oh
everything I
yeah,
pretty much said happened. So
and, hey, everything,
yes,
everything.
yeah,
Hey, you ain't missed. You
yeah,
ain't missed now.
yeah.
You know what crazy is, bro. It's 2 seasons in a row we gotta talk about Kyrie Irving.
Oh God,
You
yes,
know I gotta ask you about that, man.
yes, yes.
First of all, how you doing though? Everything good? I know you the busiest man in the world. I just saw your you interviewed Buddy Hill. I mean, you've been
Yes.
talking to yeah, you've been working, man. How you doing though?
Man, chill. Don't pay the bills. I'm doing all right. Just staying busy and enjoying some downtime. It's been a long NBA season, and free agency starts on Friday. So getting ready for that.
Man, I'm talking about you've been everywhere. NBA Finals, All Star, you can name Miami, Boston, New York. I don't think you don't take no days off. I already know that.
You find the time to do it. You do. You do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hey man, so you from New Jersey. They people know you, they know that, man. Speaking of New Jersey, man, we gotta start with Kyrie Irving.
Uh-huh.
Kyrie Irving. There's reports, according to ESPN, Dallas America offered him 247 million, 5 years. I mean, what's your thoughts on Kyrie? What you think Kyrie Irving gonna do this summer?
If I told you now, the anticipation would not be great come Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But this is what I
Right,
will
right, right.
now. But this is what I will say. There are a lot of teams out there that are interested, but I can tell you that the Dallas Mavericks can offer the most money. And when you look at the landscape of what's going on in the NBA, the fact that he is taking meetings with other teams doesn't surprise me because ultimately you want to treat this like a recruiting trip. You want to see what's out there, and he's exercising and enjoying his free agency. He's enjoying that both on the sneaker front as well as the team front. I know that, and speaking to folks on the Lakers side of things, um, LeBron would love the opportunity to team up with Kyrie, but it would have to make topical sense. He wants to win rings. He wants to win championships. Um, I think that the Lakers are in a good chance right now to do so if that's what he's looking for. When you look at the Dallas Mavericks, I think they had a great draft. But ultimately, I think you want to be in a situation where it's more than just the glitz and glam and there's more of a focus on basketball. If you ask me today where I think he's going, I do think the Dallas Mavericks give the best chance for him to have success from a peace of mind perspective, but also from a perspective of just growth and a longer term deal. That's the thing that Kyrie ultimately wanted in Brooklyn, and the deal that the
Yeah,
Nets
yeah.
offered him was not
Right.
it was not beneficial. The first year of that deal was guaranteed, and then it was the next year the deal was not. He had to, in order for him to um, go forward with the Nets, they would have had to have won a championship, I think, within year 1 or year 2 in that contract. This time around, he's raised his value with his play, and here we are now. So if you would ask me today what I thought, I think the Dallas Mavericks makes the most sense, but it's also a look as to how much more Dallas is going to add to that team to benefit them. They can't run with just Luka and Kyrie. They need additional help.
Absolutely. You gotta have balance. That's one thing I did say. I like what they did in the draft. They got size. They got out Dahlberg ton contract, so they freed up some cap space. I think a guy like Grant Williams. See to me they need guys like Grant Williams, and they need some wings that can some 3-and-D wings on the perimeter. If they can get that, they'll definitely be fun. But I don't
Oh,
think.
and Grant and Kyrie have a very good relationship. I ran into Grant a couple days ago,
Oh, they
and
do. Okay.
have a good rapport. Yeah, because they both were within the Players Association, both in some way at some point being VPs for the Players Association, and Yeah, so I know that there's a connection there. Um, Additionally, I would pay attention to Dylan Brooks. As far as the Dallas Mavericks go, league sources tell me that as much as people look at the disconnection after that jersey swap between those two, Kyrie, from what I'm told, does have, of course, on the Brooks side of it, has a relationship or at least a respect for Dylan Brooks's game and how he is, and they need defense. They need additional scorers, and they need additional bigs in that system. But as of now, that's how I look. Somebody in the comments asked, "Is it true that Phoenix turned down a trade for DeAndre Ayton to Dallas?" There was a conversation with the Philadelphia 76ers as it related to um, Tobias Harris, but I also know that internally the Phoenix Suns have discussed, and this was prior to the Bradley Beal trade. I know that they internally did discuss the possibility of a sign and trade with the Dallas Mavericks. That's been a conversation that has been discussed, but I think that kind of that dialogue as far as Phoenix is going to get interesting because at one point there was a conversation in the cards for Kyrie potentially going to the Phoenix Suns, and I think with the Bradley Beal trade that kind of changed some things. But Phoenix and Dallas, there was a conversation.
Oh, that would have been interesting because some I originally thought that was I originally thought in her that was pretty much an option for Kyrie until they got Bradley Bill. The Bradley Bill thing, I didn't see that coming. I know you did because that's right up your alley. I know you've been over there. That you've been covering a lot um most of the season with Washington, right? You've been doing a lot of covering players over there or whatever.
I mean, I'm a national reporter, so
Yeah,
when you look at what's going on with the Washington Wizards, I definitely have paid attention to them. Spent a lot of time with guys on that team, both home and away for them.
right.
So yeah, I've been around.
But,
The biggest issue there with the Washington Wizards was, in some people's eyes, I know that there was some contention between the former president Tommy Shepard and some of the guys on the team, and some guys on the team they kind of scratched their head when Rui Hachimura was shipped to the Lakers at the trade closer to the trade deadline. A lot of people kind of were like confused, but Rui's living his best life in Los Angeles, and Bradley Beal found his way to the Phoenix Suns. Now it's going to be a conversation of, is this going to be Jordan Poole's team, or are they going to find a way to retain Kyle Kuzma? Every indication to me has been that, one, they've wanted to build this team around Kuzma, and that was, of course, before they moved Beal. But two, I know from conversations that I've had on the Washington side that, there could be some teams that emerge like the Indiana Pacers and more.
mhm.
But as for now, the only team that seems to still be a resounding yes currently is Kuzma returning to the Washington Wizards. We will see.
And he wants $30 million a year, right? Like they had reported.
From folks I've
Yeah,
spoken with on the Washington side, yes, he wants the bag.
because they got my guy over there, Michael Winger, now from the Clippers. So
Yes.
uh, it's kind of it seems like he's going in a rebuilding stage, and he's fine with keeping cool. Kind of you think he's fine with keeping cool, giving the 30 million, have Jordan Poole, keeping Tyra Jones as the backcourt, and
Mm-hmm.
pretty much just building out that because they do got some other little young pieces over there. So I mean,
Oh, definitely.
hey, we'll see.
Oh,
But
definitely.
so now now you mentioned Dylan Brooks for the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think that's a bad fit because a lot of people don't. So when they look at Dylan Brooks, they think he's just a agitator. But defensively, I think he's one of the best rim defenders in the NBA, and I think that's something they actually need. They need that toughness,
Oh
so that's
yeah.
not bad.
And in conversations with folks on the Brooks side of things, I've gone away with the conversation that it would go anywhere between the usual suspects: Dallas, Miami, and Phoenix. To me,
Not bad. None of
if
them are bad.
no, none of them are bad. And when you look at the Miami Heat, there are some pieces that they're missing. Dylan Brooks would definitely fill that.
Oh yeah. No,
Um,
Miami dog. Yeah, he right. That he fits that kind of that tough DNA they bring over there. They got a lot of decisions to make too. I see they got a lot of people calling for Matt Strutz. They got to pay Gav Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
It the confusing on fans. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
You hear me? Okay, my bad. I got a call. So look, the confusing part among fans, everybody's trying to get an understanding the new CBA. You this the new CBA is they made it seem like it was made to stop super teams. Do you have a better understanding for the people that don't understand the new CBA and
It's
how
it's
it's affect this free agent?
so yeah. From what I conversations that I've had with the league, uh, it even carries over into royalties for the NBA 2K video game as well. But from the people that I've spoken with, I have not totally looked at the CBA in its entirety. But what I do know from conversations from folks that I've had is that one, it wants to create more parity in the NBA, so that you don't have three or four teams or four players that are stars on the team. You cut that in half, and you have two teams here, two teams there, and more. But I think in this new CBA, it also gives people more opportunities. Hey, everybody, I think he cut out, but I'm still here until he returns. It gives people more opportunities to have ownership and to be more entrepreneurial. I was just speaking to a friend earlier today. I was explaining that you could be on an NBA team and still own a minority stake within a team. So, you look at a situation like, LeBron James currently playing in Los Angeles, and understandably so, that there's a chance that a Seattle team or a Las Vegas team could, be in the NBA in the next 2 to 5 years. If he's still
Right.
playing, then he'd have the opportunity to have a minority stake in that team while also playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. It also gives people more opportunities to work in the betting space. I have had conversations with players who want to expand that reach, and I think
Hmm.
that gives them more opportunities to do more in the business space and not just play basketball, but have a test run in being an owner and more. So there's a lot of things there. But to directly answer your question, yes, it does create some more parity in the league. You're going to look at the Detroit Pistons of the world, and even I'm no, you can't own a team while you're still playing basketball, but you can have a minority stake in that team. That is part of the CBA. Check it out. Um,
CWE is a troll. Don't pay no
but
attention to him.
yes,
Yeah,
but
he's a
sorry, I got
troll.
distracted. But no,
Yeah.
ultimately, I think when you look at the opportunities that are available, yeah, people talk about the smoking marijuana and part of it, but there are some other things within the CBA. But I know I've got some mixed reviews. I know some people have said they like it. Some people are like, ugh, nobody's going to win. So, ultimately, though, I think that for the players, there's a little bit more of an empowerment movement there, but it also creates more parity in the league. So the teams like the Detroit Pistons, they have they want to get everybody, anybody from Cam Johnson um, to Max Strus and more. But yeah, that's what I got.
Right. So man, this dude, see, he said, oh, he didn't know. Man, CW, you got to he said he one of them that he likes Kevin Durant. He was on CWE best star last year,
Okay.
or before the trade deadline. Then Kevin Durant went to Phoenix. He switched over to Phoenix. But we'll go ahead. But we'll continue. Okay, well,
Like
look.
with the CBA now, it gives 2K an opportunity to send royalty free contracts to former players. And Charles Barkley
Yeah.
is bad, so there's a
Now
lot.
that's a what, and that's very important because that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to participate in the game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So now we would probably see Charles Barkley in the 2K.
Well, we talked about it, and one of the things that he said to me was, in order for me to appear in the game, they got to make sure that they take care of the guys. He cares less about the
All
money.
right.
He cares more about his fraternity of brothers in the NBA that make that happen. So that's that's what it is.
Now going with my guy, Draymond Green, man. Hey, reports. I just saw a report not long ago say he's meeting with Damian Lillard. We can talk about both of them. What's going on with Damian Lillard, bro? Like, dude, like, man, I don't. We is he gonna stay? Is he gonna go? I mean, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Well, in conversations with people that I've had, it's more of a cat and mouse game. It's similar to, Kevin Garnett when he was in his first stint with the Minnesota Timberwolves, where you
Right.
get to a point where you're loyal to a team. When somebody sees Damian Lillard, they only see Portland Trail Blazers. Just like, for a long time, we looked at Russell Westbrook. We only saw a Thunder uniform. You looked at AI. You remember him as a Sixer, even though he was there for most of his career and he came back. But in this particular situation, I have had conversations with people where they feel as though, Brooklyn or New Orleans would be decent fits. You look at New Orleans, a reuniting of CJ McCollum would make sense to some. You look at Brooklyn and their situation with Cam Johnson. If they can't match whatever a Detroit or other people are offering, why not try to get something in return for him? And so to me, when you look at Brooklyn and a lot of their assets that they have on that team, guys like Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, and more would complement Portland very well, who already has Anthony Simons and others on those teams. So, I think in this situation, though, if you're Damian Lillard and you want to play for a contender and win a championship, you got to kind of. I felt that prior to the Celtics trade to get Porzingis and more, I felt that Boston may have had some assets in order to make that happen and give you the opportunity to win a championship. So when I look at this situation with Lillard, I think there's no compromise. It's either you're in or you're out on both sides of the basketball. I think the Miami Heat were in a very interesting and very blessed situation where they went to the finals and beat a more roster supremely more talented roster in the Boston Celtics. They had more of a better roster than the Miami Heat had. So
Absolutely. Nah, I didn't think that series was gonna go how it was. I'm totally surprised.
So that's why when I look at the Heat, I'm like, okay, well, say you go to the Heat, does that automatically mean a championship? I don't agree with that. I still think.
So you think the best fit is Portland?
No, I think the best fit to play it safe is Portland. I think the best fit would be a team like a New Orleans or a team like Brooklyn. But I feel like I think New Orleans is closer to it than Brooklyn is currently.
I like Brooklyn. I like the Brooklyn. I've been talking about this. I like the Brooklyn fit because of the culture Jock Vaughn has helped build along with the young players. They play more of a defensive, tough, young, running gun type of style. Damian Lillard fit right in, especially got a future All Star level
I
player in
feel like
Mikal
if
Bridges.
Damian Lillard gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets today, they're not a championship team.
It depends.
If Damian Lillard is traded to New Orleans,
it probably wouldn't because
they're a championship team.
I can see why. Okay, who you think they're trading? Okay, who they're trading for though? Brandon Ingram. Who you giving up?
And that's the thing. When you look at this Pelicans team, at this point, I'm not trading Brandon Ingram, and I'm not trading Brandon Ingram.
Zion.
You'd have to give up Zion. If I'm the Pelicans, I give up Zion Williamson for Damian Lillard today.
Okay, so because I understand because Brandon Ingram's a workhorse. The thing about Brandon Ingram, he has a hell of a work ethic, and when he's on the basketball court, he's a problem. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. So I get it.
I've been reporting on just Brandon Ingram's workouts all season. He's been working out this summer in California with Mo Wagner of the Orlando Magic. And he's been pretty quiet. He hasn't even really posted on social media like that. He works out 3 days a week. And it's been pretty quiet around him and everybody around him this summer. And it's interesting because on the other side, and I won't kick him in when he's down, the Zion Williamson noise is what it is. But he's 22 years old. I don't know about you. I didn't have it all together at 22.
That's one of the things I was telling folks that I'm like, y'all gotta understand that man 22 with all this money and fame, bro. You know what I'm talking about? He gotta same day with Ja Morant. He just gotta learn. You gotta get over that.
And sometimes change the scenery is good.
that growing pain. I think he's just going through growing pain with that stuff, bro. Like it's nothing wrong with that. It's not the end of the world. You just want him to get over it, and don't get back into it. You feel what I'm saying?
He's a man and he's rich.
Right. So
Imagine being 22 with that amount of money.
that amount of money, that amount of fame, and you know what comes with that? Women. So
Mm-hmm.
and everything else. So I think Zion, me personally, I think he just need to go to another team. I
I,
don't think my own opinion. I've been I didn't I was a little unhappy he got drafted to New Orleans. I wanted New York Knicks to win the lottery. I thought that would have been
you wanted the
a
Knicks to
better
win the
fit.
lottery?
I did. I for some reason I just it didn't feel right looking at Zion and the Pelicans. You feel what I'm saying? I don't
Mm.
know. He just a box office player. I want to see the Knicks get something. They haven't got anything since Patrick Ewing. So, as far as like draft pick, in my eyes, anyway. Uh,
Mm. Yeah.
He thinking about. I mean, think about it. I
I'm
mean,
just listening.
when when the last time they got a legit guy with a pick with a top lottery pick? Like I'm talking about a legit superstar level player.
It's been a long time. It's been
Long
a
time.
very long time.
Patrick Ewing. Before since Patrick Ewing, then
Oh yeah. And then you've had pipe dreams for Zion Williamson, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and
Stephen Curry.
yeah. Mm-mm. But you know what? I look at the New York Knicks and I look at RJ Barrett. I know people say that draft class in 2019 it sucked, and I can't totally co-sign that because and people tease RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett does not hurt you.
Mm-mm.
You know, like I'd rather somebody if like comparatively if I have a baseball team, I'm the manager of a baseball team. I'd rather have somebody that hits singles, doubles, triples than somebody who strikes out every time. You don't have to hit the home run and the grand slam all the time, but at the same time, his batting average is still over 320, 330.
I think RJ Barrett was holding him back as a perimeter shot. I think that's the
Is
only
what?
thing that really his perimeter shot is holding him back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But
It's not consistent enough.
But Giannis, no LeBron had a consistent jumper in year 3.
But Giannis and LeBron are so dominant getting to the rim.
Okay,
They
but
you ain't
RJ
stopping it.
but RJ Barrett's game was always put it like this, right? When LeBron played, I always looked at Andre Iguodala as a blue collar LeBron. Not comparing games. I'm just saying filling
Oh
up
hell,
the sheet.
hell yeah! Andre Iguodala one of the smartest players to play the game.
Right. And then look how long he played.
Right, but yeah, I
You
I
get where
see
I'm
what you're
going with
saying.
this?
Yeah.
RJ Barrett fills up a stat sheet just like that.
So you okay? So you think other parts of his game can pretty much cover up the fact that he doesn't have
Yes, I
a
do.
consistent perimeter jump
I
shot?
do.
Okay.
And when you looked at Iguodala, when Iguodala first came to Philly, he was on that team with Iverson. And
Right.
Iverson at times was stifling Iguodala's growth in Philly. When Iverson got traded,
He got built.
Iguodala
You
got
saw
better.
he got built. So you don't so are you saying that no, I'm not no, I don't think you're saying that, but okay.
I'm not comparing those two.
No, I know, but do you think he's heading in that direction or you think
Yeah.
certain moves around him
I
need
think he's heading in that direction. I think that the
okay.
Knicks have been topsy-turvy since he got there, and they're finally finding a level of consistency. This past season showed that.
Right. So what okay, now Draymond, did we yeah, what do you think about Draymond Green? I look, I don't think he's leaving Golden State. What you think? Like, what's your thoughts on Draymond Green?
I personally think that he still helps Golden State because when you look at that Warriors roster, he's really the point guard.
Right.
Steph Curry moves off the ball, even though by position he's a point guard. But the thing that gets interesting is now you got Chris Paul, who's a natural point guard in that position. So if you're Draymond, you looking like, well, where do I fit in this? Also, they got a new GM.
Mike W.
Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the GM. The other guy is out. He drafted you. If I'm Draymond Green and Golden State's not is not offering you what you want, you look at Sacramento. Particularly because Mike Brown is there. You have familiarity with him. I think it's easy to just say that the Lakers are the team he should go to. And I think in this Lakers team as constructed, I don't think Draymond fits in that system because he needs the ball in his hand as a playmaker. And that's the same thing LeBron does. And if you look at it, I feel like they're going to bump heads. Just like Russell Westbrook and LeBron bumped heads. They both need the ball in their hand.
Right.
Yes.
Now, look.
Huh?
Hey, your interview went viral last week. Your interview with Brandon Miller.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it went viral. Everybody took it out of proportion. Now I'm gonna let you, because they've been arguing about this. I'm gonna let you. Okay, let me ask you this: when you asked him that question, he said Paul George is my GOAT. What did you get out of it?
In my mind, I said, let him talk and shut the hell up. And I knew that when he said it, I had something, but I understood what he meant. I feel as though it's subjective. Like one of my three favorite basketball players is Antoine Walker, Al Harrington, and Anthony Mason. They're not the GOAT to me, but they're some of my favorite players. I think that for Brandon Miller, he plays like Paul George. His skill set is like Paul George. And so to me, if that's your prototype, that's how you feel and that's what you watch, then that's what it is. But I also feel like when you look at basketball, if people are saying LeBron and Michael are the standard, people are going to get mad when you say something that's contrary to that. But I've always felt that Michael and LeBron's games are not comparable because they play two different styles of basketball.
Yeah.
Kobe plays more like Michael. LeBron plays like Oscar Robertson or Magic Johnson. And to me, LeBron is Magic with a better jumper.
But you know what I got out of that though?
What?
I honestly got out of the fact that he's basically saying Paul George my guy. That's somebody I looked up to. He wasn't really saying like, oh, he's better than Michael Jordan, LeBron because of this, that, and the third. He just said that's my guy. That's my.
And I also think that was his first time facing the NBA media like that, and I think he was very comfortable talking to me, and that's what he said. And I think a lot of people who may criticize, had they been in his position, they probably would have said some stuff too. So I just think
they took that and ran with it. I wouldn't draft him because he got Paul George to go.
I wasn't mad, but at the same time, I get why people were upset.
Man, so now speaking of the draft, you interviewed pretty much all the guys. Like, what guy in that draft class you think is going to be like I know this is crazy, kind of crazy, but you can kind of like. I think everybody do projections though. What guy you think?
Scoot
Henderson.
Scoot Henderson gonna be a problem.
Scoot gonna be a problem. Is he gonna be the best in this draft?
Yes.
Over Wemby.
Oh, over Wemby? No, I think Wemby's gonna do his thing. I just didn't want to be obvious and just say Wemby like because he was first.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of.
I mean, whoever you think is the best, the best. If you think Wemby the best, you go ahead though. Like if you think Scoot, I mean, it don't really.
Well, I think Wemby's gonna be there as long as Wemby stays healthy.
That's the thing,
I think he's in the right system in San Antonio.
The perfect organization.
But I also think who the guy that went to Dallas from Duke. I think he's gonna be good too in his own right. I think he stays in the league for about 10 to 15 years. I think there's certain guys that are gonna be long-term, long staples in the league, and then I think there's going to be guys who are stars. I think Scoot's going to be a star. I think Wemby's going to be a star.
They getting on me because you said Scoot. You said Scoot first. That's what they keep telling me. Scoot is going to be the guy. So he's going to be the best.
Yeah,
I
but in today's day and age, anything anybody says in the comments, they're gonna, or anytime somebody says something, it's gonna be magnified. And because I'm saying it,
yeah,
I'll take with it and run with it. But just because I like Scoop doesn't take any shine away from.
yeah. Nothing wrong with it.
I like the Thompson twin, the one that went to Houston.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, I like Amen. Amen. I think it's gonna be a problem. I
I
like I
I
like
do
his
too.
brother too.
You going to the D, Motor City.
Yeah.
Hey, look. Speaking of Houston, man, what you think about Houston, man? They got Mia Doke over there. I think that team just by having Mia Doke on there is gonna. Yeah, that's right. Just having him there and bringing his defensive philosophy and everything. I think that automatically that's gonna make them a
They
better
got to
team.
put it all together,
Yeah,
I want to see Ime win, and I want to see Houston get it right, and I want to see um, them organically do it. I have no problems with Ime in Houston, and there were other teams in the league that were interested in his services, not just Houston, and he made the decision that was best for him.
like your Brooklyn Nets, but you kept trying to tell everybody, hey, Jacques Vaughn was the guy. He's the guy. They like Jacques Vaughn. You kept
Well,
trying to tell them.
the Nets liked Ime, and were
Yeah.
considering him, but the league stepped in, from what I'm told, and told them to kind of chill out with that, and that was coming along the heels of
Mm.
what was going on with Kyrie, and yeah, that's what I know.
So yeah, so if the league ain't step in, he would have been a Brooklyn Net.
Yeah, it was just too much. It was too much going on in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
once that Kyrie thing,
the
yeah,
other thing is, Jacques Vaughn was more than qualified. That's
yeah,
the part. He was passed over twice. It was time. People forget Jacques Vaughn had a whole coaching life before he got to Brooklyn. Is with the Orlando Magic.
right.
Cool because he hired somebody from his Orlando Magic staff that's now assistant, Jay Hernandez, um, who I've known since he was an assistant with Orlando, from Long Island, went to Hofstra. He's starting to bring a lot of his. You saw them get rid of certain people in that coaching staff from the last regime and add new people, but you're starting to see Jock put a team together with his assistants, with people he feels comfortable with, and again, I'm glad to see him do well. You're seeing a mixture of San Antonio personnel as well as Orlando personnel in Brooklyn.
Man, what's going on, my guy? Hey, talk to me, man. What's going on, my guy Ben Simmons, bro? What's
What you
going
want to
on,
know?
my guy? Man, bro. Hey, look, I've been riding Ben Simmons. I'm still riding with him. I'm always riding with him because I think he's a talented guy. They've been killing me every time I say something about Ben Simmons. They be killing me in the comments. Say he's trash and all that. I don't think he's trash, bro. Okay? Is Ben Simmons? Do he want to be a Brooklyn Net? Do he want to go elsewhere? What's going on, with Ben Simmons? Is he losing confidence? Does he not believe in his coach?
I think his injuries have not totally healed, and a lot of it is his back. Like, I've never had a baby, but I know that epidural shots are painful. But also, I think he's been dealing with a lot of people asking questions about his level of durability since his time in Philly.
Man, yeah, I don't want to. I don't want you to say nothing sound crazy,
You,
but
you ain't gonna get me to
uh,
say nothing crazy. I've dealt with that all season. So yeah,
yeah, no, I'm not trying to get you in no trouble, bro. I'm just trying to. Hey, look, man, I want Ben Simmons to prove everybody he's one of the best young players in the NBA. I feel like a lot of people forgot. A lot of people gave up. A lot of people gave up. I'm one of the few that still got hope that he's gonna get his confidence back and he's gonna play at a high level on both ends.
I agree.
And I like him with this team, really, to be honest.
I like him in Brooklyn. I think that there was too much attention drawn to uh, the Nets because of who they had on their team prior to Ben being there. And really and truly, Ben Simmons was supposed to be a Houston Rocket. Um,
Mm.
Ben was when the Nets and the Rockets were having conversations with Philadelphia, when Harden was first traded to Brooklyn. If I'm not mistaken, I tweeted it a while ago, but I believe that in order for that to take place, Houston wanted at the time Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, I think 3 first round picks. Excuse me. Houston wanted, yeah, in order to get James Harden, they wanted Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, 3 first round picks, and one other person. And Philly wasn't with it. And then I know Brooklyn, when they were looking to move Harden for Simmons, they wanted Tyrese Maxey. There's just been a lot of asking prices, and ultimately, from my knowledge from the beginning, Philly was where James Harden wanted to be, more so than Brooklyn. But Brooklyn could offer the best look to get Harden, and Ben Simmons was salty ever since that Houston conversation that Philly was having. And then you dealt with injuries. Then you dealt with fans. I've had conversations with people in Philly that, Ben Simmons didn't feel safe. He had to kind of have people around him to keep him grounded, keep him. I don't want to put his business out there, but basically there was a lot going on behind the scenes in Philadelphia that I'm privy to. And I think coming to Brooklyn, it was a fresh start, but his health wasn't totally there. Like, I know he was supposed to, when he first got traded, there was a feeling that he wanted to rush back. But I think that ultimately, for Ben Simmons being in that system with Kyrie and KD, I think he needs a reset, and I think he needs to be around guys that are younger and he can grow with. I think if he could kind of replicate in Brooklyn what he had in Philly and just kind of play and have people off his back, no pun intended, I think it's a start. We've seen flashes of it during the season. You saw it in the preseason when they were going up against the Timberwolves, when they were going against the Bucks. But there needs to be a level of consistency, and it hasn't been there for a myriad of different reasons.
He just so you think really like just talking to him, he seemed like got it. Like, do you think he's one of them people that's just he believes he's great, but he
He's an
don't take
easygoing guy.
criticism too well.
I think a lot of people don't, no matter what profession you're in. I think sometimes we generalize. If somebody says something and it sounds true, we group it as that's fact. I know that in my dealings with Ben, I've had conversations and dealings with Ben since the day he was drafted in 2016, and I think what happens sometimes is you have these levels of expectation for guys, and when they don't reach that or when they don't become a star, then they're soft. I think, like, for example, when you look at Lonzo Ball, when Lonzo Ball was drafted, we thought he was the second coming to Jason Kidd because he was light skinned and because he played like him. And I feel like over time, we retempered our expectation of what Lonzo was. We knew that he was a solid defender during his time with the Pelicans. You knew that he could hit the wide open three when given the opportunity, and he rebranded who he was. He wasn't Jason Kidd. To be honest with you, at times he was a better shooter than Jason Kidd. I remember they used to call Jason Kidd Ace Kidd because he lacked the jumper, so they wouldn't give him his name. I think he was a better shooter, at least early on in his career. He just now hasn't been able to stay healthy. So I think the same for Ben Simmons. I think it's possible what we thought Ben Simmons was going to be, we have to retemper that. But he is open to criticism also. And I think that time in Philly was just a very, very interesting time between conversations that I've had with people on the Philly side. I just feel like Brooklyn was that time to have that opportunity to make it happen. And then you saw what happened in the playoffs against the Boston Celtics, and he wasn't available. So then people start asking questions again. You heard that conversation about the ramp up process, and then he didn't play.
So he just pretty much did him too much. Out court, on the court. It's just too much.
I think it's been his health.
Then between him and it seemed like on the outside looking in, him and Joel Embiid not the best of friends.
But I'll also add this. I think in this system with Brooklyn, where do you fit him? Is he a 3? Is he a 4? Is he a 1? When you look at it, you can't put him at the 2. But I feel like I remember having a conversation with Brett Brown when his last year in Philly. And I remember they starting Ben at the 4. And I think they shift Tobias to the 3, and then they moved Shake Milton to starting at the 1. And then I think you sagged off Embiid at the 5. And I remember having a conversation with Brett and asking him, when you see Ben Simmons at that 4 position, do you see flash? Do you see his skill set being similar to LeBron during his time in Miami? And he said, I remember sitting and watching LeBron. And I was an assistant coach on the Spurs when, the Heat played the Miami Heat, or the Spurs played the Heat. And you saw some of those nuances where you move LeBron between the 3 and the 4, and he can sag off the ball and move off the ball. I think you saw LeBron as a playmaker for so long in Cleveland during the first stint. And then you saw it at times in the second stint. And of course, you see it in LA. I think Ben Simmons has a lot of skills, and I think his strength is getting to the basket and creating and driving to the basket any shot in that way. I think just taking wide open jumpers, no. I think his strength is moving off the wing, getting to the cup, drawing the foul. But I also think his strength is drawing the double team, finding the guy in the open corner, finding the guy in the post, driving to the basket. I think getting back to basics with Ben Simmons would probably be the plan for Jacques Vaughn if the Nets retain him. He is good with the ball. I'm reading a comment from Manny Torres. He said Ben Simmons is much better with the ball in his hand as the primary ball handler and playing defense against opposing primary ball handlers. He's much better on-ball defender than off the ball. I agree with that totally.
I want to see Ben Simmons. One thing would like to see more. I would like to see Ben Simmons, and I like to see him more in pick and roll situations.
You saw that at points with him and Joel Embiid in Philly.
I was looking for. I'm like, why am I not seeing another pick and roll with Ben Simmons
in Brooklyn?
It didn't make sense.
In Brooklyn,
yeah, I didn't see enough. In Brooklyn last year.
Shit, who was gonna share the ball in that instance? I feel like him and Claxton to me was the perfect mix in that regard off the screen and roll. I feel like, but I feel like when you have Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, it's different than when you had Harden, Irving, Durant, because you knew Harden was the primary ball handler, but he also scored. He took jumpers. Ben Simmons, to me, when you put him in, that makes Kyrie the de facto ball handler.
It makes sense. That's why I'm saying. That's why I said with this team right here, I'm hoping they can come to agreement. Let's run it back and let's give it a try, because I really believe Ben Simmons can play. Me personally, he can play a Draymond Green type of role. Like he has that ability.
I agree.
Like I don't see what I love. This team I really got a lot of length. Claxton is showing he's one of the best, most versatile defenders out there. I mean, this guy was guarding 1, 2, 3s, 4s. I mean, he was unbelievable. And you talking about got to work on his really stay in the gym. You can tell he really stayed in the gym and worked on his game. I mean, he had a big leap from the year before to last year. I want to see Ben Simmons with Mikal Bridges. I don't know what's going on with Cam Thomas. You know more than me. I don't know what's going on with Cam Thomas. Yeah.
I know ain't shit funny.
Yeah, I know it ain't. It definitely ain't. Hey, he was killing with that. Like what's going on with the young man? What up with young fella?
From what I understand, he was unhappy in Brooklyn when Jacques Vaughn started taking his playing time. And the criticism on the coaching side, from what I've heard, is that all he can do is score and that he's not a team player. And that's why I said at the beginning of this conversation that if the Nets were looking to bring in a Damian Lillard, I think Cam Thomas and Cam Johnson will be perfect trade pieces and assets to bring Damian Lillard to Brooklyn, and it solves that issue. But again, he's still a member of the Nets, and I do think that if he does return to the team during training camp, I think Black Sunday says Scoop B is a fraud. He said KD wasn't going anywhere. Yeah, I said that in the summertime when they agreed.
Said it?
It's Black Sunday.
I'm gonna put him in timeout. I also said it too. And he was okay. He a fraud, but what did he start training camp in the first 2 months of the season with? Was it Brooklyn? Was it in Phoenix?
When he started the season, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, y'all. Stop this crap.
um,
Why? I got a better question, y'all. Why do y'all give Scoop B such a hard time? Social media. I don't know what it is about you. I don't know
I know
what
why.
what is it?
Because I'm in rooms they wish they or dream they could be in.
I know it, but why though? Why they don't hate? They don't hate the other cats. You know what I'm talking about?
You know what's understood ain't gotta be spoken about.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why do y'all hate? You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's kind of crazy. And Black Pride always come in support. I'm kind of disappointed in him. No, come on, bro. Black Sunday, not yeah. He always come in support. I don't know why he doing this because we all said this. We all on this channel. I said it. I think we had a whole we did a whole rundown last summer. Kevin Durant and Kyrie are going to be in Brooklyn when all said and done. Was they in Brooklyn?
I said they don't like
Yes.
you because he shut down their made up narratives. Well, yeah, that
I
too.
mean, I don't, what did he? What did the man do? He didn't. You don't disrespect your favorite players. I don't get it.
But it's par for the course. If
Yeah, he very intelligent 3 stats, but I don't.
ultimately, when it comes down to it, I like Ben Simmons. I like his game. He just has to be in a place that fits. I saw somebody in the comments say Orlando would he would fit like a glove. I like Orlando as a whole. I like Paolo. I like Markel Fultz. And I really think that team has something special the more and more they grow.
What the hell is they doing over there? They dropped 5 point guards, my boy. I need you to explain to me why the hell they keep dropping point guards
Maybe they trying
every single year.
maybe they trying to stack assets. I don't know.
Make it make sense. I promise you, if I watch Orlando Magic this year and they got 5 point guards on the floor, bro, come on, bro, it's gonna be a problem. How you got Jalen Suggs, all, and then they don't have like below average. All those guys are good.
Yeah.
Cole Anthony, Suggs, and folks, and the new guy that just got all of them good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they got a bunch of misses. They all them guys are really they if you put them on if you put them on other teams and they got a permanent role and they know and they able to play their game,
Mm-hmm.
they gonna blossom.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You on the same page?
And so okay, then for the Laker fans,
Mm-hmm.
'cause we gonna wrap it up in a minute. The Lakers fan, what you think about the Lakers, man? The Lakers.
I
What's
like
your
the team that
thoughts on the Lakers?
I like the team that they had last year.
You think they should run it back?
I think they should run it back. In conversations with people, I can tell you, and you probably clipped this part. I can tell you that LeBron was very pissed with what Michael Malone said about him.
Mm.
From folks that I've spoken with, that he is one of the many motivators going into this season. And
Uh-oh.
also, the conversation about him retiring was in the moment. And
Okay.
after playing games and losing, he was very frustrated. But from folks that I've spoken with within the Lakers organization and those who know, they shared with me that you will see LeBron back in the fall and a very motivated LeBron going into the season. So Mike Malone is on his dartboard, and while he would like to play alongside Kyrie Irving, it has to make sense if that were to happen. I know, like I said, Kyrie is, taking meetings with a lot of different teams, and let the best team win. But as of now, LeBron will be returning in the fall from folks I've spoken with, and I'm told that the conversation of him going to Dallas, meaning LeBron. When I asked somebody who would know whether that was realistic, they looked at me and said, "Scoop." I said, "What?" They said, "Hell no."
Yeah, I don't see him leaving California.
Yeah,
Now look, if he leaves the Lakers, where you think he'll go?
I don't know. Ask me that when he leaves.
Oh,
Or when he's getting ready to leave. I don't have an answer for you right now. I listen, but this is what I will say. When you look at his son and him waiting for his son, as many people believe, I think there's teams like Orlando. I think there's teams like Oklahoma. there's teams like Atlanta that make sense. So I
Oh,
think
so you think he'll go to one of them teams?
I think there's a chance.
Oh, okay.
I think there's a chance.
Now, what you think about my Los Angeles Clippers, man? I know
They need a point guard.
Russ. Do you like Russ?
I do. I like Russ on that team this year. I'm not a Russ. I'm not a Russ slanderer like many. I like Russ. I think Russ. I feel like Russ on that Clippers team was what they thought John Wall would be.
True. Hey, look, I am one of the before he got on the Clippers. I didn't. I've been a guy that criticized Russell Westbrook at basketball. His game. Think he plays a little too fast. Sometimes he ball waters on defense. So I've been criticizing him for years. What I saw from and I told everybody, I said, look, he gets a clean slate. I'm gonna support Russ. I'm gonna put all this stuff aside. When I tell you this, I have become a Russell Westbrook fan within 2 months. I never say nothing else bad about him because you know why?
Why?
He showed me that he's able to change his game in certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
When he got on the Clippers, he realized, okay, I'm not going to be Russ from Oklahoma City. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on setting on my teammates and playing defense on the other end and doing all the little things. And he showed me that. I said, nah, he better than what I thought. He way better than that because we know he's talented. I know he can get 30-point triple doubles. I know this, but can he make winning plays when it matters?
Well, I think
That's
Russ.
one of my biggest criticisms.
I think Russ and I got to go in a minute. But what I will say,
we're gonna.
Of course, no, but I always make time for you. What I wanted to say was,
I appreciate it.
Of course, when you look at Russ and you look at Carmelo Anthony, I feel like when you don't fit what people want you to be, people get upset. I think in Carmelo Anthony's case, I think Dwayne Wade hit it right on the head recently when he said that, you know, the do-rags and just some of the other things that were going on, they weren't ready for Melo to be the rookie of the year. You know, we'd already seen Allen Iverson. When you look at Russ, I think when you are not playing the game and going along to get along, you alienate some people and people feel away. And I think Russ definitely filled some holes for the Clippers, particularly in situations where they needed him to move off the ball and also be the primary ball handler. But I also think that when you activate Russell Westbrook, it takes time away from Terrence Mann, who before Russell Westbrook got there was playing quality minutes and was the utility guy on that team.
And he do like what direction you see the Clippers going to this year? Like
I think this is the last. I think this is this year's the last run for that team before they may decide to do something else. If you ask me today,
they keep Russ.
I think they should.
Absolutely. Now you got to keep Russ. That's something they was missing. Now, got 5 minutes. Let me see. Do anybody got a question?
Oh, they got a lot of questions.
Oh, I ain't even paying attention to the chat for real. I mean, we got 5 minutes. I need some questions now. Y'all want to ask my guy a question? I appreciate him always chopping up with him. He always come through and visit us.
Of course, man.
Even on his busy schedule, he interviews everybody, your favorite boxer, your favorite football player, and basketball player. You know, he still comes down and talk to you, boy. He said, "Okay, no questions. What are we doing?" He said, "Kuminga getting traded?" Question mark. Old time. He said, "You think Kuminga getting traded?"
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think Jonathan Kuminga was in a situation in the Warriors where you had the old versus the new, and I think he would fit instantaneously on other teams. But I also think if they keep him, he and Chris Paul would work magic.
Right. He said, "Do you feel like Dame is running from expectations?"
No, I think Dame is doing what's best for him after being loyal for that to that team for a minute.
Said, "Do you think my Nets going to make a trade?"
I think if the Cam Johnson offer from the Detroit Pistons becomes fluid, I think he will honor the Nets by trying to commence some type of sign and trade. But I really do know that Mikal Bridges wants Cam Johnson to stay. But I also think the Nets are preparing themselves for next season, not just this season, where guys like Donovan Mitchell will be available, and others. I think the Nets don't have to rush to get a big name.
So the Bulls looking to move guys. Yeah, they did get Big V Stench.
Vooch wanted to stay. I spent some time with Vooch in Paris back in January, and he spoke glowingly just about his time with the organization. You know, he's moved around Orlando and more, and Chicago has been a steady place for him. But I think you need a complementary power forward alongside of him. So you know, I like his fit in Chicago, but I'm also curious to see whether where Kobe White fits long term. I think he's been underutilized in that system, and I personally think that they favor Ayo Dosunmu a little bit more. And
I see that
than they do Kobe White.
And what's going like DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine? That now there was some talks. Those two wasn't a perfect pair. I don't know because you know how it is. People say things worse than what it really is when you lose it. So I don't like. What do you think? Like, is they looking to move one, both? I mean,
LaVine loves Chicago, but ultimately, I do think he's a better fit on a lot of teams. I think that the issue with Chicago this past season was really the missing part, which was Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball was supposed to complete a trifecta with alongside LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Billy Donovan's system, and they need a player like LaVine, or excuse me, a player like Lonzo Ball in order to balance that out. And Kobe White is not that guy because he's a scorer. He's just a scorer in a point guard's body. And you got to give him free range to run around in the second unit. And I think that if they find a LaVine type, excuse me, I keep saying LaVine. I think it's because they both light skinned. But if you find a Lonzo Ball to complement LaVine and DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic, I think that team can be running in the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're a championship team today, but I definitely think that they have the pieces to compete in the NBA's Eastern Conference. You saw flashes of that in the play-in tournament and throughout the season. That injury to Lonzo Ball really did a number on that team.
Thank you. One more. We talked with Dakota free agent, and I'm gonna do a show for them later about something else. What do you think about the champs? Do you see the Denver Nuggets repeating? You think they are one and done? What you think?
No, I think they got a stacked squad, and it's not just the team on paper. It's really their rapport off the grid. You know, I spent some time with that Nuggets team back in January and February, and the way that you see them in the finals was the way that they were at the beginning of the season. And it starts with mindset. You know, even down to Bruce Brown, even down to DeAndre Jordan, even down to Ish Smith. Them guys are locked in, and it really starts with everybody knowing their role, and even their coach. I think the world of them, but I do think I don't think this was a fluke. I think that this team can compete because you've seen flashes of it even in the bubble. They needed a healthy Jamal Murray complementing Jokic, and I think this team is here to stay for a couple years at least.
Right. Hey, I saw your interview. Now I saw you with Tank Davis. Now now we finna end this. Now you boxing now. Earl Spence or Terrence Crawford?
Say what now?
Who you taking?
Tank.
No, I'm saying I know Tank your guy. I'm saying you know a little boxing, right?
A little bit. I wouldn't say I'm as fluid with boxing that I am with basketball.
Okay.
If
now
they bring,
are you gonna interview one of the guys? Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford for the fight?
If they bring it to me, yeah. Showtime usually calls me or HBO calls me, so I might get a call in the next because that fight is next month, right?
It's on next month.
Like July 9th or July 8th?
July 29th.
Okay. I was off 20 days. But yeah, if I get a call, definitely.
Oh, okay. I know Tanky guy. I know Tanky guy, but Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, you know.
Shakur is nice. Shakur is
Brick City.
Shakur is nice. Shakur Stevenson's nice. I've met him, and I've watched his fights. I like Shakur.
Shakur Tank.
I'm gonna go with Shakur.
I'm finna say, come on now, Jersey.
I'm gonna go with Shakur.
Man, look, I appreciate you tuning in, my guy.
My brother.
Man, like always, I'm gonna hit you up later, man.
My
Make
man.
sure, hey, everybody, make sure if y'all on Twitter, y'all need to get on Twitter. Get on Twitter. Make sure y'all follow my boy School B.
Instagram,
Sports,
and make sure you
Instagram.
subscribe to the
Go ahead.
podcast on all streaming platforms. And yeah, man, it's good to be here with you. And thanks for having me.
Man, I appreciate it, man. Hey, appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure I hit the like button. Hey, I'm gonna holler at y'all a little later, man. Salute.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, my guy.
Later.